Thanks everybody for joining. And we're going to get started because we've got a bunch of items that I'd love to work through. Some of these things that we're going to learn today are, I mean, I wish it was something we could talk about all the time. And though I work very closely with my friend Wade, we don't get to talk about this much as I'd like, because it's so impactful for practices today. I want to just welcome everybody back to Practice Habits. This is a weekly session that we do to talk about practice implementation, and it's inspired by the many years and the many folks that helped kind of mentor me over the years, being in remote parts of the country with all of our new clinics. Sometimes we had to rely upon ourselves. So it's helpful to have other folks now we can learn from. And this is something we do every week to try to just inspire other leaders and practices to do things differently and to share their knowledge as well. So we've got a collection of practice leaders on the line, business leaders in ophthalmology, and hopefully you find something helpful within this. Some names that are friendlies from the past, Montana, Baltimore, and others here. So thanks everybody for joining. I want to get started by introducing my friend Wade. And Wade, you've got a little fan club joining from Vance Thompson Vision today. So that's awesome. Welcome to them as well. These are, without question, and I'm serious when I say this, a collection of my favorite human beings. The people of Vance Thompson Vision are core to what I have been proud of and want to continue to accomplish professionally in the world of ophthalmology. And Wade leads the charge in the day-to-day operations as the Chief Operating Officer of Vance Thompson Vision. And let me just see if I can get to the right screen here. So, Wade, I think you've been there almost 4 years now. And before you were there, you were with American Girl Doll, and before that, with Macy's, which was Dayton's before, and you probably had a couple of other stints in there. But you've always worked in direct customer-facing, frontline kind of operations roles. And I think it is a testament to what Vance Thompson Vision is committed to, that they look at your background and they say, oh, this is the kind of guy we need to run our healthcare organization, because the fundamentals of what you know are so absent in healthcare. And so I'm so thrilled that you said yes to joining us on this today. I hope it's one of many sessions we have. And frankly, I think that there's a lot of curriculum you could help create to train practices, how to do the right thing customer service wise for our patients. So thanks for joining us. Maybe what I'll do, Wade, is give you a chance to defend yourself with my introduction. Maybe tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to be in charge of the day-to-day, the delivery system of Vance Thompson Vision.
Well, I've always had a passion for service, and I love experiential retailing at the time. I'm going to call it experiential healthcare now, and was really able to practice that. I had three really, I would say, significant careers in my life. I worked for Target Corporation, which was in the luxury department store division for a long time, about 20 years. That was with Dayton's, and then it became Marshall Fields. So before I left there and was recruited to go to American Girl in 2005, I was running the downtown Minneapolis Dayton's, and really, was a highlight of being the general manager of that particular store. It was our second largest flagship outside of State Street. So really got my teeth into. We had 7 restaurants, 1,500 employees, just a really wonderful mix of um, goods, from great apparel to couture. So learned a lot there, met a lot of people, had many wonderful mentors that helped shape me to where I am today. And in about 2005 or 2004, American Girl started recruiting me, and became interested in that. At that point, they had 2 stores, Matt, one in Chicago and one on Fifth Avenue, and didn't do near the volume that I was doing in Minneapolis, Dayton's, or the amount of people, but became more and more interested in it, and joined them in 2006 5 and was a head of retail. And during that journey, I was there for about 16 years. Before I left, I was the head of worldwide operations, which included all of the retail operation, all aspects of it, commercial sales, and then I was also in charge of the phone team, which we had about 1,500 employees there. Left for multiple reasons, but it was a wonderful time in my life, and really kind of wanted to get back to Sioux Falls, and looking and really didn't want to go work for a big corporation again. I had the opportunity to be part of something very unique at American Girl, but we were part of Mattel, the world's largest toy manufacturer. So there was some uniques from that perspective. But with that said, we started looking and did a lot of interviewing. Things did feel very good. And then I came upon Vance Thompson Vision. Actually, my wife did, because I think she was tired of me being in the house. So she found this job about COO, and I said, well, I've never been in the healthcare business, Suzanne. And so I don't know if that would be, something they'd be looking for. Knew Vance Thompson Vision because I grew up in Sioux Falls. I knew about it. And after graduating from Augie, I couldn't wait to get out. So I left, but then I wanted
No,
to
wait
come
a
back.
second, real quick. Where'd you say you went to college?
Harvard of the Midwest, Augustana University.
Oh my goodness, that's so crazy. That's where I went to school.
Yeah. I think you
What?
graduated before me. I'm not sure. But then things started unrolling and unraveling, and I read the core values, I read the job description, I went, wow, this could be a really great third career for me, in a third company. And found out during the process that you and Vance actually studied American Girl when you were building the practice, which that even made me more excited. And was offered the position, and been really excited about what we've accomplished. And I've been blessed with my professional career, and this has been an excellent fit for me, and super excited about learning a whole new business. And I'm no longer the
Yeah.
creepy doll guy, Matt.
Yeah. Well, you weren't before. I just want you to give us an overview, but not everybody has three daughters and has spent a fortune on American Girl dolls and paraphernalia like I have. Give us a sense of what American Girl doll, what's so special? What are we talking
Yeah,
about here?
yeah. American Girl is a brand that girls love and mom trusts. And what that means really is it started with the story. Pleasant T. Rowland had a vision in 1986 as a real entrepreneur, and decided that at that time the only dolls in the market were, oh gosh, I can't even remember, Barbie, and some of the other one that she didn't like, maybe Cabbage Patch Kids or something like
Cabbage Patch, right,
that.
right.
Yeah. So she had a vision, that at that time, what if she built a brand around historical times in 9-year-old girls' lives throughout American history. And she said it was a gift from God to her business plan. She went up to her cabin, she wrote it, she did all the specifics right down to identifying that there would be stores someday, and which is pretty awesome. So she created this brand, she created this story. She worked with an author to create 3 stories, one from the 30s, one from Victorian time frame, and one from World War II. That was her first 3 characters. Um, Kit, Molly, and Samantha. Some of you may know those. But really started with stories. There are usually 9 books with each doll. She called it the vitamins in the chocolate cake. The vitamins is the story and the content and what you learn from it. The doll and the toy was the chocolate cake, and
Yeah.
met them together to create girls with strong character. So girls were
Now, she
playing.
wasn't, just to be clear though, she's not a born and bred retailer. She doesn't come from a legacy of that. She was like an educator, right? Didn't she write curriculum
Yeah,
for schools?
she had an amazing career. She was actually an anchor woman in broadcast for a while. Her dad was with Leo Burnett, the head of Leo Burnett out of Chicago. And then she had a passion for education and started writing curriculum.
Mm.
And after she left American Girl, she started it again, writing curriculum because she didn't feel like it was strong enough for the American school societies, American schools. So fascinating, brilliant woman, but decided that she had this vision. So she started this. She went to Marshall Field. She went to Nordstrom's, Neiman Marcus, I think to Target, and all of them said an $89 18-inch doll with stories will never sell. Never ever sell. And the beauty, Matt, is that she didn't have any retail experience. So she said, no way, this is going to sell. So she did things like opposite that most people do back then. And that is, you go to your retail storefront, that was your marketing. Then you would go direct to consumer. She went direct to consumer first with a catalog, not online, but catalog with calling the phone. And she dropped that first December, I don't know, something like 20 million catalogs. And it was either you make it this year or you're closed.
Wow.
And she uh, blew the doors off with 13 employees. And really, so
Imagine if those if she was like most of our practices where they took the call, but they didn't necessarily call them back.
right,
Right?
right, and and also as leaders, like not have others people turning her down, not having the vision of really truly what she's creating and understanding the brand, and having the passion for it. So it evolved. It became one of the largest doll brands in America at a certain point in time. Uh, we uh, we quickly learned that the direct to consumer business. So when I say direct to computer consumer business, that is, we called it, that would be online and phone sales, was capping. And that was one of the reasons why I was brought in, to grow the retail arm from a strategic perspective. Pleasant had been gone. She sold the business in 1996. So 10 years of really working hard. She did really, really well and sold to Mattel. And was at a point where she needed somebody, and she had the vision enough to say, I need a bigger organization that can take this to the next level.
Yeah.
And which I think is also brilliant. So we learned quickly through a lot of analytics that when the consumer would visit the retail environment and could touch, see, smell the product, their lifetime value doubled, and they got more and more excited about it, and it became more organic. So, Matt, if you'd visited the store with your girls ever, hopefully you had a wonderful
We did.
experience, and you probably walked around holding the dolls with your credit card while they like screamed with delight and found wonderful things and had birthday parties, a doll hair salon, and the whole store was supposed to be a museum to girls.
Well, if I may, I want to interrupt you right there because the first time I went to an American Girl doll store, I went with Vance, which is a whole new level of weird, and a bunch of other doctors, by the way. But it was the flagship store in Chicago before it was in the Waterfront Center, so it was the
Okay.
original. And what, 3 floors?
Yes.
Um, and um, and one of the things that we found remarkable is that you would walk around the first floor, and the first thing that I thought to myself is, where's the store?
Mm-hmm.
Because it was all dolls behind glass and a place to take your photo. So your photo with your own doll, so you could be on the cover of the American Girl magazine that came
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
monthly, and then there was a 13th issue. The 13th issue is you.
Mm-hmm.
And all of these different things that you can do with your experiences. This is like the thesis of what we're talking about today. Experiences, not the offering itself. And what you said, and I'm glad you led with it, Wade. It just, I mean, my spine is tingling right now. I'm just so excited to talk about this because you found that the more rich the experience, the more loyalty, the more spend, the more enriching the interaction is. And then you go to the second floor and there's a dining room that turns into this like amazing thing to do with your mom and with your grandmother. And there's the hair scrunchie around the napkin and the sassy seat, the seat that goes for your doll. So girls are sitting with their doll, with their mom, with their grandma, and there's this intergenerational experience now that's going to become something that's never forgotten by that daughter, the consumer, that's far more valuable, not only valuable for her, but then also the other generations who are seeing, history taught to her through this uh, exposition of a doll. Don't get me started about the American Girl doll review, right? Which is a review that finally, when I took my girls back, it's like a musical of all the history of the dolls, right next to the dining area, and it's this show fully performed by the actors, and at the end you sing the American Girl doll. Is it the anthem? Is that what it's called?
Yep.
How am I doing,
Well
by the way?
done, Matt.
Remembering all
Well
your
done.
stuff.
Yes. Yes.
And my
Nope,
girls are
sing it, sing it. You have to sing it. You brought
uh,
it up. You gotta
but
sing it.
my girls are so proud. They're singing it. They're so proud. And I'm looking down at them, and I'm looking at my wife, and all I know is, like, the way my wife looked at me, that was worth every penny.
Mm.
Because she's just like, you are the man. And by the way, we still haven't found the retail space for the dolls yet. That's on the third floor.
Hmm.
It's so masterful. And engagement of your audience, and then the loyalty that comes, and the memorabilia that makes you think when you get back home, hey, when are we going back? When am I getting my book? Hey, I'm going to look in the mailbox to see what else I'm getting related to Kittredge. And anyway, I could go on and on, Wade, but I'm a super fan, as you know.
Matt, knowing that you just knew what the scrunchie was, I'm so impressed.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I can listen. My girls are going to college, and we're seeing all this stuff around in their rooms. And I mean, it's 12 years since those things took place in my life. I mean,
Yep.
and it's we point back, and these are the things that are still impactful for the structure, the what's held our relationship together is memories and time, and that investment of time is the currency of making memories. Listen, we could geek out about this, but we at some point should talk about how this applies to healthcare. And don't think for a second, by the way, that you didn't participate in healthcare, because there was American Girl Care Center that we took our dolls to in the Twin Cities because their hair got all mangled and there were some smudges. So that's probably when you first had your calling to healthcare, isn't
Well,
it?
I did tell John Birdall that we did have a American Girl Doll Hospital. So we did
Yeah.
change eyes out. We didn't do cataracts, but I could change the eyes out. So
Yeah.
that was
Tell
kind
us,
of fun.
last American Girl story directly, but tell everybody what that is.
So girls, their dolls get loved. They have little brothers. They have puppies, whatever. They could ruin their hair. They could send it in to American Girl headquarters, which is in Madison, Wisconsin, which was, sending my favorite doll in to get it repaired was a really scary thing. And we just didn't put new hair on, we replaced the head, but we didn't say that. Of course, that would not be a very good experience, but they could bring it into the store, give it kisses and hugs, and we put it in a little hospital robe and gown, and it would be sent into Madison, Wisconsin. There we had a whole area of doctors, we called them, and they would repair the dolls and bring them back to new. And along the way, we'd send messages to the girl and the mom saying, "Oh, Kimmy's doing just great. We're really, really proud of her." And so they could just know that this experience they could be part of, even though it was in a big warehouse mat that you would not near as nice as a store.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. So, and then we'd mail it back to them with a band-aid on it and a kiss and a balloon, get well, and it would arrive back beautifully to them. And that was part of the experience because the whole we wanted them to be keepsake dolls and handing down dolls. We didn't want them to be collectible dolls. We wanted them to be your lifelong friends. And taking care of them, the care and keeping of you was really important. We even had a book called Care and Keeping of You.
Yeah. And listen, here's the thing we learned from our friend John DeJulius, who is similar, subscribes to the same kind of belief set about guest experiences and how impactful they can be. And his offering is haircuts, and that relationship that exists every 3 or 4 weeks when people go in for their quote identity refreshment. And what he says is, listen, if I sell you a $150 haircut, I'm ripping you off. Okay, because
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't cost that much to cut, hair. However, that's not what we're selling. We're selling identity refreshment, relationship, someone who is vouching for you, going to bat for you, encouraging you, and it's an hour every 4 weeks that you get to just be fussed over, and you're the center of our world. And that's worth every penny, so much so that people schedule their next two before they leave that day. And similarly, you could say the same thing. If we're selling you $100 doll, I mean, but that's not what you're doing. It's relationship, it's intergenerational, it's history, it's women empowerment, all the different things that the historical educational part of it that rolls into to it that makes it suddenly not only worth every penny, but you kind of want to go get the other one too, right? And when we went to the Twin Cities store in the Mall of America, and my one of my daughters got to pick her own out, she like she is not impulsive. She took a while to walk around and learn the stories of all of them. And there was a teacher with a master's degree who had
Hmm.
retired, and she's the one like assigned to my daughter.
Hmm.
And I mean, listen, they invested their time into making it a great experience. And so now I want to just do the very easy arc over into what we're doing in the eye restoration, the vision restoration and preservation world. What of this? Does any of this even uh, does any of this even apply to what we do every day?
Well, there's two big elements to it. Whether it's a patient or a guest or however you call it, you're inviting them into your business, and you need to deliver an experience like none other. And wherever you shop, wherever you go for service, we we expect certain things out of that. And when you're going to American Girl, we never put things on sale, Matt. That wasn't. We were proud of our prices and our quality of product. And when walking into a Vance Thompson Vision or our business, or any business that we're doing with ophthalmology, premium technology, premium lenses, whatever you're in for, is uh, something to be very proud of. But you also need to deliver the experience. So, as you know, and everybody on this call, it's all the touch points along the way. Whether ophthalmology, American Girl, Costco, we can all go on and on. But you do need to make sure they're well scripted. We do need to make sure people know what's expected of them. We do need to hire the best team members possible. And we also, when you're part of something really special, like American Girl, Vance Thompson Vision, or other companies that you admire, guess what? People want to work there. And it's
Mm.
fun and it's exciting and it's rewarding. And your employees feel that and they portray that to your people. I mean, to your patients or to your guests and to each other. And I feel like we have that at Vance Thompson Vision. That's one of the things I felt when I walked into the door, and extra special touches along the way. And when you've been in the business as long as I have a very critical eye, I can walk in somewhere and see where it's really special, what people are doing differently, why is this business working, and uh, that's really fun to be part of something like that. And then, are you always evolving? All businesses need to evolve and get better and see what's going on in the world. And we do that, and people do that within businesses, but it's something we do at VTV, which you helped establish, Matt, beautifully.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm just imagining myself as the 20-year-old who is, or let's say 22-year-old who's, because of the state of education today, maybe they're working on at American Girl doll on the side while teaching, right? First couple of years out teaching
Hmm.
history. This is a great place to also live out your professional love. And you walk into the uh, the diner area, the restaurant, and you're the server who gets to now serve the daughter and the mom and the grandmother. And you walk up on it, and there's this moment in time where you have to just picture it and wonder, this is like, I don't know how many times this gets to happen in this family's life. But it's certainly not every day. Even if they live in the same home and they get to have meals together every week, it doesn't happen here. with this backdrop, with the intention of this place. What an honor it is for me as a team member to live that out. Now, similarly, same thing. We are in one of the more honorable professions known to humankind, the restoration and preservation of vision. And many times, one of the things you've established is that patients don't come alone, right? You bring a loved one. Luckily, a lot of times we're dilating their eyes, so we want you to bring a driver. And the experience you create for the patient is one thing, but the experience that's also mimicked, for the driver is just as powerful. First of all, they will likely be a consumer of your offering as well. But how they see you treat their loved one, um, I mean, it's so powerful for future value of that of your offering, but also for the value of your team member who gets to see how special this is and recognize, boy, I get to do this every day. They get to be so happy about their vision, having recently gone through vision correction. I'm ecstatic. Just so you know, I told two people this morning about my vision correction at breakfast, and they're both coming in. I've been working for Vance Thompson Vision in one way or another for 26 years. And I've never been an advocate for the offering as much as I have been. And in part, it's because the vision's so good, but the other part is because the team made me feel so awesome. And so that the double win there is so impactful that it becomes its own centrifugal force for recruitment. People feel that calling.
Well, and also the really huge benefit is the organic marketing, Matt.
That's right.
If you experience something great, you're telling everybody. And at American Girl visiting the store, the girl went home and told all of her friends. You go to Vance Thompson Vision or get your, cataracts. You have this great experience. You tell everybody. And I've had many, many times, and I know my colleagues on this call have as well, but you wear your logo wear out in the marketplace. And, every time I'm wearing it, somebody comes up to me and said, "Hey, are you a doctor?" I'm like, "No. I had my cataracts done there. And such doctor is so awesome. He did mine." And and the experience was unbelievable. I told everybody, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." And and we're not just hearing that; all the team members hear that too. So you're it's another point of pride, but it's also when I hear it from a dear friend that they had a great experience somewhere, I'm highly, highly likely to try to have that same experience.
Yeah, listen, that's I feel like I haven't done justice for you, Wade, on the things that you've brought to Vance Thompson Vision with your background, because I just went fully nuts on your background because I'm just such a super fan. But I do want to give everybody else an opportunity to ask the questions of you as well because of your unique background. And now that you're within our craft, what an asset we have nationally to be able to draw from you. And you're like a very well kept secret that I hope we can kind of you know unleash because there's so much you teach us all about consumer behavior, loyalty, how inspiration in service becomes staying power for a team member. But any of you on the line, just unmute and any questions you have for Wade.
I have one. Actually, I have two. First is, what's something they were doing when you got there that like kind of shocked you that they were already doing? Like, was there an observation from all of your experience where you're like, wow, they really have this dialed in, like something that stood out to you? And then the second question would be, is there something they weren't doing that, you kind of implemented from your experiential background that they do now?
Great question, Cade. Uh, because they were a direct-to-consumer catalog business and one of the first online businesses, the amount of data that American Girl had was unbelievable. So we knew where you worked, where you lived, how old your kids were, when their birthdays were. So we could target. We knew exactly when you were in the pipeline at 3 years old and when you were going to get out at 10. So when we would stop sending you catalogs because they're expensive, but we knew when you were in the core, we're going to load them up And those girls would go to sleep with those catalogs at night and circle them and, bring them into the store all ragged. But that also helped us say, what is our retail roadmap and where do we have penetration where we know that we could plop a store down and have a fan base that was huge. Um, uh, but also having enough information that says let's not cannibalize the online market, because shifting sales in a retail world from online to a store or vice versa is the kiss of death. You have to grow incrementally. And that's why the store was so important, because even though I would visit the store probably 1.5 times in my pipeline, we, like I said earlier, by visiting the store and immersing yourself, you spent 2 to 3 times more within your lifetime. So that was really good. Like I said, when I first got there, we had 2 stores, and as being part of Target Corporation in Marshall Fields, we were locked and loaded. We had very clear guidelines, standards, and how we executed. And the 2 stores, quickly I found out, were doing things very differently, and it was. It would be very evident as I go through, and it created more work than it did efficiency along the way. So think of visual merchandising, think of signage, think of events, think of different parties at different stores. We weren't maximizing where we could be more alike than different, even though New York is different than Chicago, and we have to recognize that. It's very important. Just like Vance Thompson Vision, Sioux Falls is different than Billings. And you have to recognize it. So you can be more alike than different, but if you don't recognize those differences, and if you don't think that the New Yorkers thought that they were better than Chicagoans, you're missing it. So you had to identify those. So streamlining processes, getting more harmony in how we did things, more standardization, really allowed for our expansion. When I joined, we were in the middle building the LA store, and they were all 3 different flagships, and we need to get into more of a standardization, because we couldn't do live musical theater at every location. You couldn't afford that. You couldn't have 40,000 square foot stores everywhere. Just like in a clinic, you can't have, Sioux Falls is our, what I call our flagship, is very different than what we're building in Bozeman right now.
Yeah, Wade, you have I don't know if you still say it, but when we were there and we were starting to grow, at the pace of a couple of clinics per year, we had a saying that everybody um, gives credit to Thomas, or I'm sorry, not Aquinas, but St. Augustine about um, in essentials, uh, unity, in non-essentials, liberty,
Mm-hmm.
and in all things, harmony.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm sorry, no, in all things, charity, not harmony.
Mm-hmm.
Charity, so we're going to be good to one another. That's the charity part. But if
Yeah.
it's super important, like pricing, then unity, right? If it's something that's a local preference, okay, we can do things a little differently. But that's been the mantra for scaling. How much do you find? Because I imagine coming into Vance Thompson Vision, there's a lot of that kind of like defining. One of the things we did well was grow. One of the things we didn't do well, at least while I was there, is define those 3 categories well.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you've been really good at that. Give us some examples of things that you may have harmonized on that are essential, where and an example of things that you've let kind of be localized.
Yeah. Uh, well, certainly all of our brand standards. We have non-negotiables, Matt, that you started, but we've expanded those now. So, what is the music we like to play? What's playing on the screen in the atriums? Down to those type of details. And that defines the brand as you go from clinic to clinic. As we talk about forms that we use, we talk about a lot of the same positions from a team member. So we're doing those kind of same functions over and over again. But like you said, there are differences. There's differences in the physicality of your building. There's differences in your community. There's differences in events that people like react to or don't react to. Differences in some marketing tactics that we use that might work in one location, might not work in another location. And we as everything is much patient facing, we want to be very succinct and clear. And if we're going to do anything, we want to go over the top with it by clinic. And that is, that's what can separate us from others. But we also don't want to prevent people from thinking, because that's what happens sometimes if you're too prescriptive on things. People don't say, well, this is the way we need to do it. Well, we want to give people the freedom to say, how can you roll out the red carpet as needed? And we do that. But when you do, you should feel our culture the same in every location. You feel with love for the patient and the team. So it's not just the color blue that we use or the furniture that we use. It's that feeling of, wow, I've been there and there's something, I can't put my finger on it, but it's really special.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. What other questions or comments for Wade?
Yeah, I have one. Wade, thanks for sharing your story. It was really interesting to hear. Thank you. And you had the benefit of, and I have had the benefit of watching Vance Thompson Vision become what it is. And, they created the category of experiential healthcare and ophthalmology, I believe, and that's Matt and Vance and Joe Pine and Gilmore and all the stuff you guys did. So, as you're in there now, and it's sort of, I think to me, saying, experience or creating experiences or wanting to have a good experience with a lot of practices that I see around the country over the years is it's kind of like fitness. Everybody wants to have it, but very few people want to do the work to actually do it. And so, now as we think about sort of the next evolution, like our friend Joe Pine has gone from, the experience economy to now moving to the transformation economy. How do you think about Vance Thompson Vision and sort of where that needs to go to sort of move on that continuum?
Yeah, I think we need to stay true to our core values. We need to stay true to who we are. Joel, some of the things that I talked about in American Girl that I say here is, how do you get bigger and still stay small? And and what I mean by that is, how do we still stay connected and special? It's easy to say, oh, don't do the logo water that says Vance Thompson on it. All those things you start peeling back and you no longer are special. And we have to stay really true to that. And look at what's happening in the marketplace. And we do a 5-year forecast out from a financial perspective, but we're also looking from, what are additional services we can add? What else can we do in the market? We're not here, an American Girl was like, let's open 2 stores every year. So when I left, we had 45 locations. That's not our strategic plan here. Our strategic plan is to grow the markets we're in, be the best we can, have the greatest market share. But then where do we have gaps within the market where we can add more service lines and be more strategic? And I know that this is your the best thing you can do for your brand is continue to deliver on the experience and up the experience. And that's why we're such important, that the surgeons we hired, the ODs that we hired, the leadership that we hire. We opened Cedar Rapids in Northern Colorado in the last 18 months. And one was a brand new practice, and one was we took over a practice of 28 people, that had been in business for 35 years. And it was really fun to transform those into our brand and have those people come with us and reaffirm who we are. But that your people are your secret weapon.
Yeah.
And
It's interesting, Wade, you talk about Sioux Falls being the flagship, and because you and I were there in Cedar Rapids, one of your newest places together, they might be offended because they believe in their heart that they are the flagship. And I mean, there's nobody more VTV than the next version of VTV. And I love the zealot mentality that
Isn't that
comes
what you
from it.
want from everybody? Don't you want every practice to
Exactly.
feel like
That's
they're the flagship? Yeah.
right where I was going, is that, and then it inspires people back to say, like, wait a second, we better ante up here. It's just
I used to do an
really,
American Girl, and I've taken that to VTV. We used to say, well, you're an Academy store. This is where I send people when I want to show them the right thing. And I said that to the Cedar Rapids team when I first about a year ago when I was sending them to Fargo and Alexandria. I said, well, these guys are Academy. And one of the team members said, Wade, Cedar Rapids will be the Academy in 12
So
months.
awesome.
And I
Human
was like,
nature. It's
you're
so
awesome.
great.
Mm-hmm.
What other questions do we have for Wade? Ty, do I see you going to your phone there? You're muted. He's trying, everybody. There
Sorry
you go.
about that. Wait, thanks very much for sharing. This is Ty Weber. I'm the CFO in Glacier Eye Clinic in Kalispell,
Okay.
Montana. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I I love the three. You're in your third career. I've done a bunch of different things, and I kind of feel like I'm dabbling in my fourth. Um, and you know, and it's really interesting to see you take one retail to the to the American, take. And my wife, actually, we were in Minneapolis and she worked at Dayton's as an accountant there before your time, I think. But so I love the Dayton's, and that whole, and that experience
Mm-hmm.
of Dayton's was incredible. Like, we'd go through there every Christmas, the light show every whatever Wednesday night it was during winter. It was just a blast. And um but how, so then you get an interview with Vance Thompson Vision, and then you get accepted. Like, how did you make that bridge? That's a pretty, I mean, it's a big bridge to gap.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
Um, when I had an opportunity, okay, it took 6.5 months to get this job. That talks a little bit about the interview process, which I loved. And I was walking, it reaffirmed when I was, two things. When I was walking through the Sioux Falls Clinic for the first time and just really observing and watching, and thought, well, this is all on stage. This is no, I can breathe and eat this stuff. I've done it for all, it's all customer, patient facing. This is great. The attention to detail is beautiful. We can take it to the next level. So that part to me was like, okay, this is just your retail selling floor. And now, and we equate it to those. So whether it was the flower show that we were running in downtown, Dayton's at the time, to, what was happening with the patient in our atriums. And I love the way it's called first impressions here, because it is first impressions everywhere you walk into a store. I also have a great respect for people who are running live environments. I ran them. So I knew when I was meeting with the executive directors for the first interview I had with them, that I have a ton of respect for people who run the clinics and the ASCs, whether it's a store, big store, little store, Manhattan, Denver, wherever it might be. A live environment is tough. And both from a team member experience, patient, guest, you never know what's going to happen that day. And that all translates, Tyler, that people can, you have to appreciate that. And then no matter where I go, I'm a servant leader. I'm here for the team. I'm here for the people. And I'm here for our guests. And, that's what fuels me at the end of the day. So the doctor said to me, and Dr. Birdall, I said, well, I don't know I don't even know what this machine is. He said, you don't need to worry about that way. That's our job. But you need to negotiate a really good price on that machine when we get there, which we did. And I built stores all over the world. So building new clinics is really fun for me. And all that translates, all the construction conversations and design all translate. So it actually was it had a lot more synergy than I thought I was going to have.
Mm-hmm.
But the plus side, I wasn't traveling all the time. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Wade, I just wanted you to notice, if you look at your screen, how many people are just sitting here smiling with your stories.
It's great.
Yeah. It's something we can all relate to so much. And we're reminded that, it's super complicated what we do every day. And yet it's not. It's not. We're just lighting people up. We're just showering them. We're treating them way better than we would ever want to be treated ourselves. To try to leave an impression and find when we do that, boy, we not only like doing that, we like ourselves more
Yeah,
too. And we
it's
want
so
to keep
true.
doing it.
It's so true, Matt. And I'll say this from American Girl. I'll say it at VTV. You know, the team member that was working in the doll hair salon, and for you don't know, that's where we comb out and we change the doll's hair and we made it. It's a special experience. It's a girl doll experience. If I came in at 9 o'clock, I was doing hair. If I did hair for 6 hours, I was standing there doing doll hair for 6 hours. And I had to be as chirpy, perky at 9 a.m. as I am at 6 p.m. I know I would be terrible at that. I'd be like, give me a doll and I'll yank the hair and it won't be a great experience. Those are the people that have the hardest job. Those are the people who make your brand. Just like in our clinics, when somebody's writing up their last patient or taking through their last testing or whatever, how do we make it how can they be their best at the end of the day?
Mhm.
Because that patient's first time, it doesn't matter. And those are the people on the front line of our organization that make your brand and that make the experience. The doctor's with them for like 10 minutes. It's everybody else that touches them that are so important. Wade Opland's not making a difference in the clinic every day. The team is.
Wade, I love your stories, and we're gonna get you back here again. I want to give everybody a chance to think about more questions, and it feels like we just scratched the surface with some of the stories. I've been thinking for a couple of years, like how do we get you talking more about your experience? It's electric when you start to make build the bridge from what you did to what we all now do. And I'm telling you, you have something very provocative with your background that we can all learn from. And I appreciate you spending some time with us. Everybody, thanks for joining again. And please keep coming back. Next week, we have my friend Michael King, who, frankly, is one of the best marketers I know, and especially with refractive lens exchange. He has created a category with how to communicate about this, and he is an excellent communicator as well. So it'll be entertaining. Please come back for that. And we've got the entire month of May and June all scheduled out. So these will be good sessions. Thanks everybody for coming. Wade, thanks again. And to
Thanks,
all my
everybody.
friends at Vance Thompson Vision,
Thanks, Fred.
you're the
Bye-bye.
best on earth.
Thanks, everybody.
Good to see you all.